Yeah, certainly really intensely hot conditions about the west coast. We are heading for a top of 40 degrees for Christmas Day. We've got high to extreme fire dangers as well, and some low to locally severe heatwave conditions. The good news is, though, that's all driven by a heat trough, which will move inland from Boxing Day, bringing some relief to the west coast. So we drop back down to 25 degrees in Perth for Boxing Day. So it's a short-lived heat wave, but it certainly is going to be intense, particularly for those getting out and about for their Christmas Day plans.
But people up further north in WA can expect the heat. They're more used to it up there, I guess, in places like Marble Bar. I see that it's going to be 46 there in a couple of days.
Yeah, unfortunately, the heat is more usual for those areas further north through the Gascoyne, the Pilbara, even pushing up towards the Kimberley as well. Yeah. So that heat will persist a little bit longer through there. Yeah.
Okay, so there are about 600 people on the Cocos and Keeling Islands out in the Indian Ocean off the WA coast, a fair way off the WA coast. It's an Australian territory. How close does it look like this cyclone will get to those islands tonight, and at what strength?
Yeah, we are expecting Tropical Cyclone Grant to pass fairly close to the north of the Cocos Islands. It's currently still sitting around 100 k's or so to the east, and it is moving westwards towards the Cocos Islands. So it's likely to pass to the north of the Cocos Islands overnight tonight or early tomorrow morning as a Category 1 or Category 2 system. So it's currently Category 1, but it is expected to intensify to a Category 2 system tomorrow morning. So it really just depends how fast it moves overnight, whether it reaches the Cocos Islands as a Category 1 or Category 2. But one way or the other, we are expecting heavy rainfall and gale force winds, damaging wind gusts across the island. Unfortunately, really challenging conditions for Christmas Day.
Okay, now there have been some dangerous storms rolling through southeast Queensland this afternoon. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, we have seen some significant areas of storms across Queensland, particularly through the southeast. We've had several severe thunderstorms rolling through, bringing the risk of heavy rainfall and large hail. Really, it's thanks to a lot of moisture sitting across northern Australia, and then a trough moving through, triggering that moisture to become to feed into thunderstorms, I should say. So we have seen about 60 millimetres in the space of half an hour at a place called Jimna, which is inland from the Sunshine Coast, with plenty of other locations also seeing some fairly high rainfall totals, which has come in a short space of time as these storms have moved overhead. So unfortunately, the risk of those storms continues through the rest of this afternoon and evening. Again, there is a risk of potentially severe storms on Christmas Day as well, most likely in the afternoon. So definitely something for Queenslanders to build into their Christmas Day plans, as you may be affected by that weather.
And a couple of days ago, there was a forecast of the possibility of snow in parts of Tassie on Christmas Day. Is that still looking like a possibility?
It is still looking like a possibility, but mainly for those elevated peaks. Right. It's certainly going to be very, very chilly across Tasmania, showers as well, but the snow is mainly for areas above 700 metres in the west and south, so mainly those alpine peaks.
Okay, now turning to Boxing Day. We've got a couple of events on, the Boxing Day test in Melbourne and the start of the Sydney to Hobart. What can you tell us about conditions for those?
So in Melbourne for the Boxing Day test, we are looking at partly cloudy conditions. Hopefully should get some sunshine later in the afternoon, but there is unfortunately the chance of a shower through the morning and early afternoon. Not too much in them, less than a couple of millimetres most likely, but unfortunately it may pause play at times. We'll hope for the best. Hope they are very isolated and clear through quickly, but it is going to be a cool one as well, a top of just 17 degrees in Melbourne for Boxing Day. For the Sydney to Hobart race, we are looking at some fairly strong southerly winds as we come out of the harbour, swells of 2 to 3 metres. Those winds should ease off through the weekend, however, and then eventually we'll see a north to northeasterly wind coming through across Bass Strait and down the Tasmanian coastline. So some mixed conditions for the yacht race there, but hopefully we won't see winds as strong as what we had last year.